All right, welcome back to the channel in an amazing conversation. Tyson Fury's trainer, Sugar Hill, admits that it was reasonable to suspect that Tyson Fury cheated Deontay Wilder and that basically he don't care because he's just evil like that. It's not his problem. And JD's should have caught it if it happened. Amazing. Let's talk about the interview and let's talk about what he said in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. I'm telling you, I think we're living in like a special time if you are a fan of the truth, because we were treated early this morning to an interview that took place on Barbershop Conversations channel, who was doing just otherworldly work lately. You can say what you want to say about Fred, but my goodness gracious, somebody needs to put a plaque on that man's wall for some of the interviews that he gets. It's excellent, okay? And this is one of them. This is something, if you get it, download it, put it on your computer, and remember you were there when you saw a conversation between Drew Titan and Sugar Hill, who is the trainer of Tyson Fury. And let me tell you what was so amazing about it before I give you the details. This was a conversation that I do not think Sugar Hill should have had. And if Sugar Hill knew what Drew Titan was, he probably would not have had that conversation, because they had the same job. And that job is a policeman. Sugar Hill used to be a policeman, or he is a policeman, I'm not sure. Drew Titan used to be a policeman. So when Drew Titan spoke and started asking Sugar Hill about all of the things that are in the Sneaky Punch videos. If you've not seen the Sneaky Punch videos that are up on this channel, go look up the Tyson Fury Cheated series. It's all documented right there. And Drew Titan, in the final installment, is the voice. He's the narrator of that docuseries. So he is very well versed on it. He is a policeman, and a policeman, former policeman. And something that they taught Drew how to do, and I've witnessed Drew do it on multiple occasions, is he knows how to interrogate you. And he also knows what, because they have the same job, both being policemen, he knows what Sugar Hill should know. And they related it in the sense of a crime had taken place. It's absolutely brilliant by Drew Titan. Drew says, hey, he asked him a series of questions. And right then, I was like, okay, wow, how is this going? And usually on my channel, I would like, don't do that, Drew. And the reason why I would say don't do that, Drew, is because I want people to feel comfortable to come back. And because what he's going to do is he's going to nail you down and have you ask you certain questions. And he's going to see if you're being consistent and whether you're being reasonable. And let me assure you, that's what he did. Sugar Hill looked very comfortable in the beginning of the conversation, and as it progressed, he got more and more uncomfortable. And he should have, because the questions that he was asked, he began realizing, I see where this guy is going. Let me tell you what Drew asked him. He said, have you ever seen Tyson Fury fight before? Without giving out everything, because you should go see it on Barbershop's Conversations show. Oh, wow. He says, he starts asking him if he'd ever seen his fight before. And then he goes into, have you ever seen this type of injury with a dent in the head before? We'll use just that example. And he says, Sugar Hill says, no, that is highly unusual. Yeah, that's unusual. And then he asked him questions like, would it be reasonable, since I saw that in the ring, would it be reasonable for me if I knew that Tyson Fury had a past history of this, to say, oh, you know, I have to take in consideration with whether or not I'm going to charge him with this other crime, right? Or whether or not I'm going to look more closely into him, because he's saying he doesn't have anything to do with it. But then I look on his track record and he has a bunch of convictions for the same thing. And so Drew asked him that, and Sugar Hill, who's a policeman, has to say yes. Because if he doesn't say yes, he's lying. Because another police officer will know, right? I do it all the time. Whenever somebody calls me a fake attorney, I'm like, go find one, tell them this, and ask them if I'm lying. And then if they ever tell you I'm lying, tell them to come talk to me so I can tell you whether or not they're real or not. Because when you're in the same profession, you may have different jurisdictions, different levels of expertise, different levels of exposure, but the bare kernel of it, the base kernel, the nut of it is this. They were both police officers, and Sugar Hill then knew he was in interrogation, and he started answering questions like he was being interrogated. Like, I can't say that for certain. When he didn't want to answer questions, he would say, not that I can recall. No, I've never seen that. He started denying things, right, that he should have otherwise known. And Drew started getting him, right? Because he said, look, man, have you ever seen a Tyson Fury fight? Any Tyson Fury fight? Sugar Hill said, no, I've never seen any of his fights before I trained him. And he said, so you didn't see the two Otto Vollen fight and the Tom Schwartz fight? And he's like, oh, no, I didn't. Oh, yeah, I guess I saw him during the prep for it or whatever, right? Yeah, because obviously you did, right? So he realized he said something that wasn't true, because he was just going to deny everything. Nah, I don't know. Because that way you can't ever trap him if he doesn't know anything, right? But Drew got him to at least admit that the dent in the head was crazy, because he's like, man, look, Sugar Hill starts saying that the reason that his punching power increased is because he taught him to punch harder. Are you serious? Like, are you serious? You're telling me, I won't get into it, but Drew's attitude with that in the questioning was like, seriously? I know people in Detroit. I know that you trained Tommy Hearns. I know I've seen Mitch Blood Green in New York. I know guys that can really, really punch, and I have never seen anybody's head get dented like that. Excuse me, Sugar Hill, does that dent look normal to you? And then he moves on to wrist punches, wrist punching, rabbit punching. Sugar Hill acts completely like he ain't never seen the guy fight before. But he had to admit that if he was a police officer, if he was in the position of somebody that had to investigate these circumstances, he, as a police officer, would investigate it. And that is all you really need to know. Because if a police officer said, who's there and around people, admits that, then you know that the WBC and the Nevada State Athletic Commission and those guys know that they should have at least looked into it, because it was reasonable to say, with all of this other information around, Deontay Wilder could have been cheated. And not only could have been, was. Now, the thing about Sugar Hill, I respect what the guy did, right? But then I realized, no, this guy's like, he doesn't care. Because somebody else sent me a little clip of the interview, and I have to look at this a little more fully, where he says something to the effect of, it's not my job to focus on any of that stuff other than when I'm out here to talk to Tyson Fury about what to do in the ring. If all of that stuff happens around and other people are cheating and other people are doing something, I don't care. I'm evil like that. So even when he said that, now I've got to look into the entire context of that statement, but considering the 35 or 40 minutes of the interview that I've heard, no, I think that that's pretty consistent. It's not his responsibility to take care of the other guy. And it's not his responsibility to make sure Tyson Fury is cheating. And if it was cheating, he also made sure that there was plenty of room for him not to have been around while the cheating was happening. Because again, he says he didn't see anything pretty much other than the eyes of Tyson Fury while he's putting on the gloves. He knew exactly how many hand wraps he had to hand in. That's it. No, dude, you gave it up when you said if you were not yourself, if you were a policeman in the same situation, looking at the same situation from the outside in, would you think it was reasonable to suspect Tyson Fury for cheating? And he said yes. So now the trainer of Tyson Fury that wrapped Tyson Fury's hands, that was in the ring with him, that tells this bogus story about how he magically turned Tyson Fury into the type of puncher that can dent somebody's head. He said that it was reasonable to suspect Tyson Fury. Absolutely amazing. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.